Justin Scott announced a top 5. Usually when a 5-star announces a top 5, it's like, whoa. But this one was like the most anticipated top 5 ever. I mean, he already has 4 officials set up. Let me read them for you guys. Georgia this weekend, and then he goes to Michigan the following weekend, Miami the 16th, and then Ohio State. Those 4 schools made his top 5, along with, of course, Notre Dame, which we believe will host him for the Ohio State game in the fall. So that's the top 5 for Justin Scott. Again, really not much of a surprise. But yeah, Tim, you want to? I don't know what else we can say about this 5-star talent that we haven't already said. But
no, I was going to say, real quick, did he go to Georgia unofficially, or is this going to be his first time going to Georgia? He never did it in the unofficial. Yeah, he hasn't done it unofficial right there. So, yeah, so this will be his first time there. I know everyone is always worried about Georgia.
Yeah, I remember a report that he was going to go there in April, but
never
I don't remember. I guess it fell apart.
Yeah,
went to Miami though.
Miami again, because I know he's been down there and been hot on them. So you got your 2 Southern schools, you got 2 Midwestern schools, and you got Notre Dame. Like, don't forget us. So, yeah, me personally, he's only been to Notre Dame twice, right? Last summer, 3. I'm thinking barbecue. Yeah, I'm sure he went to a game as a freshman or sophomore, but he went to the big barbecue last summer, and then he went to a spring practice, right?
Yep.
So I hope they could find a way to get him in June to come up for a day and just say hi. I think is it going to happen? I don't know, but it's huge. That's a long time. You got to. I'm just reading the tea leaves, reading between the lines and all that stuff. He's taken 4 officials. July, I think you reported July and August are dead periods, correct, Mike?
So yeah, just the end of July, you could take a week-long. There's a week-long unofficial visit period.
Unofficial, exactly, but no officials. So, like you're saying, they're not gonna do official visits for Tennessee State and stuff like that. So you're gonna do the Buckeyes. That's a long period of not visiting.
6 months.
Exactly, a long period of not visiting South Bend, Indiana.
The odds an hour and a half drive.
The odds of him committing somewhere is probably high. I would say between now or by the end of his visits in August 1st, when he starts his own training camp. So Notre Dame's going to have to flip him. Notre Dame's going to have to turn him. Notre Dame's going to have to do what,
unless they get him on campus in June for an unofficial.
Yes. That is the key to get him on. If he doesn't come in June and he commits somewhere, sure, they have a shot with the Ohio State game. But then you're putting all your eggs into that 1 3-hour window, so to speak. So it's going to be tough. They got to get him in June. They got to find a way to have Aunt Sally get him in the car and drive him up for a day. I've read he works at Starbucks. It's like, get his buddy on a break, cruise over to
get his buddy on a break.
Yeah, and just like, hey, let's go say hi real quick. So they got to find a way to get him up for some random Wednesday in June to say hi. It's big. It's big for his recruitment because, like you said, that's a long window when all these other schools are pounding him nonstop, and he's spending 3 days at all these campuses officially visiting. So it's going to be an uphill climb.
All right, we got a comment here. Andrew asks, Mike, are you trending away on Scott? I did write about him in the Gold Standard article that I talked about earlier in tonight's show. I still like Notre Dame for him. Talked to a Notre Dame source and folks in South Bend believe that Miami and Notre Dame are the top 2 contenders, but I don't. This is just one of the. I mean, it's one of those recruitments. Like, how many times have we seen this one? Like, it's tough to read. It's tough to read. Not saying that like, oh, this is going to be like a Peyton Bowen, Keelan Keeley, or Notre Dame fights and it's. I don't know. I don't know. It could be like a Jeremiah Love. Like, I don't know. Where Notre Dame lands a commitment from this elite talent, and then the SEC comes calling, and Notre Dame holds on to him. But with Jeremiah Love, A&M and Georgia were going hard. Michigan going hard after him late in the process after he committed in October. November, December. Those schools are going after Jeremiah Love, the running back from St. Louis, who they are signed in December. But no one talks about that, right? Like, not the fan base isn't always talking about Jeremiah Love. Oh my gosh, look how he signed. What does everyone talk about? The ones you lost, because it's just how it goes. And Bowen and Keeley had the 5-star attached to their name, whereas Love, in my opinion, is that caliber of a prospect, but just doesn't have the 5-star. So, a long way to say, I just can't be too confident either, no matter any direction on Scott. I just been in this business for too long to feel overly confident with this kind of recruitment, this high profile, and
It,
and
well,
all
it
that.
goes back, Mike, to just your slogan, which is follow the visits, and it's like he's visiting everywhere else, especially Miami. And if you're saying it's going to come down to Miami, Notre Dame, is I like to be on three. The best thing about on three, I've said it 1,000 times, is you could go to other message boards and read their stuff. It's like the Michigan people think it's Michigan and Miami. They don't think Notre Dame's a player. So that's what their inside guys are saying. Then you got Ohio State, who might have the best D-line coach who's producing talent out there like crazy, along with Georgia, is going to have a shot at him. Who's to say Ohio State, James Laurinaitis, right? Does he have his cell phone since he's, all over every other Notre Dame guy? It's tough, man, because if Notre Dame's not getting him in June. So Ohio State's always, I know it's not mentioned much, but they have a big need for that. So who's to say what happens with them? The Miami thing is interesting, but then I guess he's got a high school buddy. I've seen reports out there. He's got a high school buddy that's going there, and that's been a huge thing. So it's always a buddy and a girlfriend, right, Mike? It's always something like that, or some uncle in the back saying, "What do you got for me?" So it's one of those three. If you got one of those three, oh boy, it's always
Or a fourth mom, right? Mom, and wants you close to home, and Notre Dame is the close to home option. On a related topic, Andrew dropped a super chat. Thank you. Says Tim, is Al Washington recruiting better than Mike Elston? What do you think about this, Tim?
He did last year, right? But this year, hey, it's all who you close, right? It's all about this class. What are we? May 30th. So May 30th, Logan Thomas is what? Who does Michigan have? Do we know who Michigan had? I know it's the Smith twins. I take Logan Thomas over the Smith twins. Wafel. Bryce Young's better than Owen Wafel. Bryce Young's a heck of a football player. So it's going to be how Notre Dame closes with the two big guys, Elijah Rushing and Justin Scott.
Yeah, they don't have Jacob Smith committed yet.
No, but I'm just assuming he's going to go there.
So they have Ted Hammond, a 4-star from Cincinnati, who Notre Dame had on campus a few times, but didn't offer. He's the number 389 player. He's 6'4", 265. And then, Jared Smith, even though some Notre Dame people might want to say, oh, that was a recruiting loss for Notre Dame, they moved off of him. That's fine. People can say that. But the fact is Notre Dame wanted him for a really long time. They wanted the twins, and they didn't get them.
And you were even reported, Mike, a month before all that happened, like one of the Smith twins is liking Michigan more than Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So it was out there before all this stuff hit.
So I would say Michigan beat out Notre Dame for him. But then, who visited Michigan and really liked Michigan was Bryce Young.
Yes.
Now, they might get Wafel. Now, do you want to chalk that up as a recruiting loss for Notre Dame? I personally wouldn't, but
I would say, especially if they get Sean. You got two big interior nose guard type guys. Both. As much as I like Wafel on film, it's still the Hun school. Half of his film he's never blocked because guys don't know how to. So there's some old linemen he's playing against just don't know how to block, and it's running free. But so you go 1 for 1 in there. That I could fully understand. Logan Thomas is a heck of a get, and Bryce Young is a heck of a get. So I would take those two over the Michigan guys right now.
But, to answer the question, Elston was here for so long, and he did a really good job, right? He developed some – they had some big misses.
Big periods of just not getting guys.
But the defensive line at Notre Dame, went from that white whale to, being a strength. The defensive line rotation. But, on paper, for the past class and a half for Washington. I think he's done a pretty good job. And just in terms of recruiting rankings, I would say he's doing a better job than Elston, but it's hard to compare because you can't look at how Washington's recruits and be like, oh, what have they done? The guys he signed in 2023 have not played yet. I mean, what are we going to base this off of? So it's just on paper. And I think the 2023 defensive line class, Vernon, Houston, I mean, it was a really good class, but I mean, rankings wise, it's up there with anything else in Notre Dame.
I mean, they had 3 in the top 250, which had only happened once in the last decade at Notre Dame. So, and Houston, Michigan wanted his brothers on the basketball team at Michigan.
Yeah.
They wanted him. They got Traore away. I mean, there was reports that Mike Elston kept calling Vernon all the way up to signing day, and Brendan Vernon just didn't answer the phone. So he tried to flip him, and it just didn't happen. So, yeah, I would definitely say Al Washington right now, and he's still got some heavyweights to close in on, which Notre Dame's in the finalists. That's the key.
Yeah,
Rushing and Scott.